Howdy, kids. Dear Uncle Birch here with another episode. Little video. I know I often say that and then I end up talking for an hour, but I got a lot to say apparently. So clearly, it seems like my purpose in the craft on this earth at this time um, seems to be to say what is not oft said, um, to remember what is forgotten, to find what is lost, and then unlose it to the whole world. Uh, I like that. I like that because if I was just repeating the same shit that everybody else says, I'd be bored with myself and wouldn't want to hear it anymore. So I at least need to be interested in what I'm talking about for it to not be boring. So today I'm responding to viewer questions and questions out in the world. Uh, uh, I get plenty of suggestions from viewers, and I don't always do them, or I forget. I've got a lot on my table that I want to do, and it gets lost in the shuffle. But some things, they come up enough times, enough people ask about them, that I remember to do a video on that. And funny little story for me. I have my own shop. You probably already, if you've been watching my videos, you know all this stuff about me. But so I field calls all day long answering questions. And sometimes, savvy viewers figure out our phone number and they call me up and they surprised to find me actually here and ask me questions. And I love that. It trips me out a lot. But I got this one guy's been calling me for years. And I always kind of knew that it was somebody that owned their own shop. But until we got to our new shop, and we switched phones, and I got a phone with caller ID, and I couldn't confirm those suspicions. But somebody just calls me with so many different questions. This particular person is working on so many different varied magics, week in and week out. I knew it just couldn't be the average person. The average person with the average problems doing the average witchcraft. So I kind of picture that, in this person's shop, the customers come in, ask a question, and he goes, well, let me look into that. Probably, ducks behind a curtain like we have over here, and then calls me up and gets an answer, several times a week. And it's always, just very, very varied magic. Person never said it. Never said, that they own their own shop, but I know it, and I think it's funny as hell. I don't mind it at all, but I think it's funny as hell. I can't think of somebody that, if I needed to do that, who I would call. I have reference books back behind my curtain, and another internet connection too. I'll pop in the back and Google things sometimes. Come out with a perfect recipe that seemingly was off the top of my head. But this person apparently uses me for a resource, and I find that funny. I like that. And so this person just brought that up, this that I'm about to talk about up last time they called. And it reminded me, it's like, oh wow, I really should do a video about this because I find myself having to tell people this all the time. Subject is sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. And this I find in a wide array of magical operations. Sometimes you do a money spell or you start a money spell and money gets way worse than it was before it gets better. And a lot of people freak out. They're doing a spell that lasts, several days, and as soon as they do the first step, things go haywire in their lives. And the thing that they're trying to fix actually gets worse. They freak out. They want to stop doing the spell. No, 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 no. Don't stop doing this spell. You've started something. You've opened a floodgate. You must finish the course. I find this, with spells to remove bad luck, to banish negativity, protection, money spells, just all manner of things, even love spells. You know, people do a love spell, and then you know, right when they start it, you know, somebody walks in and tells them how much they hate them. That's a good sign. In the craft, we loosely use some of the laws of metaphysics, which aren't really clearly mapped out, but one of the ones I learned early on that, you know, differs from the laws of physics. The laws of physics say that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. But in the craft, they taught me right away, every action has a reaction. And that was the rule, period. Every action has a reaction. It might not be equal, it might not be opposite. We're operating on different planes than the laws of physics. We're using the laws of metaphysics. So when you take an action, you light the first candle, you've anointed it with oil, you've, you know, inscribed it, or you have a doll you're working with, or you made a powder, you may just put together a honey jar, mojo bags. There's a million different ways you can do it. But you started the first steps of the spell, and immediately something reacts in the universe that has something to do with the spell. That's something really to look at, because sometimes the good reaction we want for the spell doesn't happen until much later. If you haven't seen it already, we watch my video, The 3 Keys of Magic. We train ourselves to not even look for results in the spell for 3 moons. 3 moons, that allows us to adequately use the third key projection, letting go of the spell. So we're not sitting there waiting for it to work. But sometimes we'll get a reaction right away. It's not the reaction we want, but it's a sign that we are on the right course. We are affecting that thing. And it's a good sign. When it gets worse before it gets better, it's a good sign. So, you know, plenty of people on my channel doing all manner of spells. I want to make sure and say that, because I don't hear anybody say that. We do more spells and make more spells for people than your average witch, so we're better able to keep good notes and keep track of what happens. Incorporate the data that comes back from our customers' experience. We're calculating all of that into our work. So if you do any kind of spell and you get a reaction from the universe that's affecting that situation, that's a good sign. You're on the right track. Keep going. Finish the spell. You know, it's a 7-day spell. Go through the 7 days. Still, sometimes the spell might not manifest for that 3 moons. We tend to say 3 moons, and then we look at our notes. Like you know, if you watch the video, I don't want to repeat myself, but we train our witches to keep really good notes of the spell and slam the book. As soon as they're done with the spell, slam it in their face, psychologically, subconsciously, showing their mind. You know, closing the book on an issue is, you know, has a whole lot of meaning in our minds. You know, like I just said, close the book on it. That means a lot to us. That's programmed in our minds. Closing a book on an issue means a lot to that part of our mind, and we're training ourselves. We're going to close that book. We're not going to look at that book again for 3 moons. And hopefully, optimally, forget we ever even did the spell. And then we open up the book and go, oh yeah, I forgot that one. I did so many spells, I totally forgot this spell. That's optimal. You know, do so many spells that you can't keep track of them, and that's a great way to initiate the 3rd key. And then it's just like a happy surprise. You go reading your notes like, oh, hey, whoa. That thing I did, it happened. And I didn't even notice it happened. The check came in the mail after I did the money spell. And I spent that check already. I didn't even know that it happened. Then we look at our notes. And then we decide, you know, did the spell manifest? Was it a manifestation good enough for our purposes? If not, then that's when we, you know, do a new spell, or we do the spell over, or we do the spell better, we do the spell bigger. But we try not to even look at that for 3 moons. But then sometimes there's a reaction right away. And it's not always bad. You know, sometimes you can get spells that manifest immediately. Uh, remember a student years ago, one of our full moon rituals, um, wanted wanted a date. That was what she wished for in the full moon, and she told us later. And as soon as the circle went down, her cell phone rang, and somebody asking her out. So immediate manifestation. I have plenty more examples, but that one came to mind. Sometimes they will immediately manifest, but a lot of times there's an immediate reaction of some kind from the universe. It may not be exactly what we were looking for, but it's a sign we need to be looking out for, and it's a good sign, and it means we're on the right track. Stick to your course, stick to your guns, punch that thing all the way through, and hopefully your spell will manifest in accordance with your will, the way that you willed it to be. So, I guess I was right. Short video, had a little bit to say, not a huge amount to say on that, but that's the lesson for today. Sometimes it gets better before it gets worse, and that's a good sign. Can be a pain in the ass, especially if you're doing a money spell because you're desperate for money, and then your money situation gets worse, and it doesn't get better for 3 months. Ugh, that can suck. And that we might want to follow up with other spells to reinforce the spell, like a road opener spell to reinforce the money spell. And I don't think I've done a road opener spell on this channel. Maybe I'll throw that into the mix. I think that's what I have to say on that issue. Man, the sun is definitely shifting this time of year, right in my face. Basically, what I wanted to say after that was, marry me, marry part, and marry me again, y'all. Have fun.